you, Vince Berry, hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT, handing out Smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats.
What do we got? There it is.
Oh, why is it fucking delayed? Figured it was fitting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Are we looking at the next Mr. Money in the Bank?
I guess.
Possibly. I mean, look, I love Apollo Crews as much as the next guy, but this is a massive upgrade.
Yeah, it's just, you know, how much more can you take a guy like Apollo and just beat him and beat him and beat him?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing that this whole injury storyline is leading to a massive heel turn with Apollo Crews and.
Oh, so instead of the black guy that smiles all the time, he's going to be a black guy that frowns all the time?
Yeah, so he's going to be like Bobby Lashley 2.0.
Well, that's you know the kind of problem I had the other day when I was watching. I it wasn't even last night because I didn't watch last night. I think it was last week, and I couldn't. It took me an extra second to figure out if it was Lashley or Crews. Actually, you know what? No, it was a clip. I watched a clip of Lashley wrestle, and I didn't know it was him because he wore long pants.
Yeah.
What was up with that? Why is the most muscular guy on the roster wearing long pants to cover up all those muscles? Fuck. Nothing makes sense anymore. Like, look at this. The women's Money in the Bank. I would rather you like stuck Novocaine in my eyeball and then I had a floaty eye all day than watch some of these fucking Money in the Bank women's. Like, it's gonna be Lacey Evans. Who gives a shit? Like, I just don't care. I don't care. The match is going to be funny, and, you know, the lunch lady is going to have her tray tipped over, and some guy's going to have his stack of papers fly up in the air. Oh, my God, my papers. And, you know, someone will choke him with his tie. Daniel Bryan will choke somebody with a tie, so they'll go, oh, my God, he choked somebody with a tie. Remember the time that happened? And then, like, fucking Lacey Evans is going to win. Who gives a fuck? Like, I don't give a fuck about the women's Money in the Bank at all right now. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Well, I got to tell you, first of all, both Money in the Bank matches seem a little lackluster. Number one,
yeah.
Number
the men
two,
too, but the women, like the women's is just,
before we really get, listen, you're not alone because I mean, listen, Raw had its lowest ratings ever in history. I mean,
my God.
You know, it's getting to the point where AEW Dynamite is going to have stronger ratings than Monday Night Raw, which is scary to think about.
Could you imagine that?
So, they you know, it's tough, man. It's you know, we say it time and time again, man, that crowd makes a fucking difference. I'm loyal. I watch every goddamn week, and it's just it's hard. It's very hard to get through, and it just you're right. Nothing
Definitely.
means anything just because you're not bought in. You don't feel it like you do when there's a crowd and you feel the you know, it's
But
just
also,
not the same.
But just look at some things that don't matter. Kevin Owens won that WrestleMania match, and now Seth Rollins is in the main event of the next pay-per-view challenging for the world title. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, see, and you know, now I'm kind of so Evans hurt himself at Mania, right?
Yeah, right.
So off that dive, off the screen or whatever,
Yeah.
that's when he hurt himself.
Rollins still lost.
Right?
Like, somebody who won or has momentum.
100% agree with you. I've agreed with you on that point every single week. 100% agree. What I am thinking though, was it supposed to be Owens?
It might.
You know what I mean? And then they just had to make a last.
But I don't know. I think. Well, Kevin Owens is also a babyface, right? I mean, he could turn, but I mean, like, he just did this whole big babyface program where he came out and overcame Seth Rollins. So he, in theory, he should still be a big babyface. So there'd be no reason to don't turn him against Drew and don't turn Drew to go against Owens.
Well, you can't.
I understand the decision, for
right?
Rollins.
Well, no, and you can't turn McIntyre now because you just turned him.
No,
you know, you got to let this ride out.
But look at that. So that didn't matter. And then AJ Styles comes back oh, there are no rules in a boneyard match. I didn't really lose. It doesn't matter if I got buried. And I know that's a heel thing to say.
Right.
But fucking look at some of these main events of WrestleMania. The John Cena match wasn't a match and doesn't count because the referee and the Fiend were the same person. And then AJ Styles just comes out and says he's not a ghost or a goblin or whatever the fuck, and he didn't really lose the Undertaker match, so that doesn't matter. The Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match doesn't matter. It's like WrestleMania, like we all said, who gives a fuck about WrestleMania this year? Just postpone it, delay it, make SummerSlam into WrestleMania. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is anymore, but it's tough. It's tough, and the ratings are reflecting it. And I don't know, and now there's talks that Vince is going to sell WWE to Disney. So what is that? What is that going to do to the WWE? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, is this going to become a fucking, I love Disney as much as the next person, but I don't know what's going to happen.
WWE will die.
It will be more generic than it already is, and then it'll just go away. Like, that's really the problem, is that, so they don't even realize their own problem to sell to a company like Disney. I know that they'll solve their financial issues, and then Vince McMahon can retire in peace or whatever the fuck. And then, Hunter can go buy his gold boat and sail the 7 seas. But already what they're doing is they take independent talent who has a lot of real talent, and they turn them into these generic fucking guys. Like Cedric Alexander, if you ever saw him wrestle on the indies, is a goddamn monster. He's one of the best wrestlers out there.
100%.
Not just, and now he's just a guy. Ricochet, one of the best guys out there. He wrestled Will Ospreay in New Japan and blew the fucking roof off the building. He's just a guy. You know what I mean? So they take these guys and they take their uniqueness and they distill them into the WWE. Oh, you got to face the hard cam, brother. You got to learn to work for TV, brother. Every time you dive, we're going to cut to commercial. Like, what the fuck? Like, they just hamstring the fuck out of these guys and make them, it's like Starbucks. They do everything they can to make they make the coffee the same way every time. Or McDonald's, they make the hamburger the same way every time. WWE wants their wrestling matches all to have a similar tone and a similar style. That's why everything feels so stale. All the matches follow the same fucking formula. It doesn't matter if it's the men's matches, the women's matches, the NXT matches get to kick out more. But it's like, it's the same fucking thing. You see, when you say Johnny Gargano is wrestling Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano is wrestling Adam Cole, you know what that match is. Just like when you go order a double cheeseburger at McDonald's, you know what that's going to taste like before you bite into it. It's the same match. It's just different ingredients. It's like going to Taco Bell. A taco is a tortilla with cheese and meat and sour cream on it. And then nachos are tortillas with cheese and meat and sour cream on it. And then a burrito is tortilla, cheese, and cream. It's the same shit. Like, the other wrestling promotions give you different styles of wrestling. The thing that really bugs me is that all of these matches, the reason 3 hours is hard to sit through, they're all the fucking same.
Yeah.
It's just all the same. They're the same match. It's the same match every time.
But see, you know what? And that's what may be separating AEW strongly from WWE and why it seems to be a little more entertaining, even though they're in the same situation.
Right. Who knew that adding 5 or 10 people, heels on one side, baby faces on the other, and then like Britt Baker hits Cody. Like, there's a thing now. There is a thing. It's happened twice. It might happen this week too, where Britt Baker hits Cody Rhodes with a shoe in the middle of his matches because she doesn't like Cody.
Right.
Boom. That's like a simple. It just came up. Britt Baker did it one day, and then it became a story on the show.
And then you have Cody come out and say, "Who throws the shoe?"
Yeah, you're right. And that's kind of what they did. And then she did it again and made like she didn't hit him. It's great. Like, it's a continuing thing, but it's little stuff like that just makes it different. And then the matches, like Eric, and I know you don't like Marco Stunt. I understand. Marco Stunt shouldn't be world champion. Marco
He
Stunt
looks like a 12-year-old.
Right. But the reason that he's out there is the same reason the Brooklyn Brawler was out there. Because he looks like shit and he's going to get the shit kicked out of him. So, like, when he wrestles Lance Archer threw him. And then Brody Lee, Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One, threw him even further. Like, these guys are having a shot put contest with Marco Stunt. But you don't really see that anymore. Remember when Big Show was facing, and this is goofy, he was facing Floyd Mayweather Jr. at WrestleMania.
I actually hated that.
That was one of the better celebrity matches, believe it or not. But in the build-up to it, they brought in a skinny kid. They go, we're going to bring in a boxer who is the same height and build as Floyd Mayweather. And they bring out this skinny little black guy, and he's got his gloves on, and this is on like Monday Night Raw. He squares up against Big Show. Big Show knocks him out with the punch, and then choke slams him over the ropes onto the fucking floor. Not even onto the mat, onto the like he just pancaked this guy on the floor with a choke slam. That's different. That's sold an angle. Like, what is? I don't know what any of this stuff is. Like, it's not. There's nothing visceral like that sells you on it, you know? Like, that's what it's really, that's what the WWE thing is missing. Like, Jake comes in and instantly makes Lance Archer feel like a big deal because Jake the Snake has a way of promoting him.
It's better than Lance Hoyt.
Well, he knows how to still work a camera and do a promo. I mean, he's one of the greatest underrated guys when it comes to mic work and promos. I mean, there was nothing like it, and he can still do it. So you know, he's the kind of guy, he can get anybody over.
For sure,
100%.
But just look, the WWE, seeing that Jake worked for them, aside from like that time where he broke off and had to go to WCW and there was a whole deal. He worked for them for years. Hall of Famer, Legends contract, whatever the fuck. They could have had Jake the Snake managing somebody on the WWE roster. WWE could utilize some of these people that they have hanging around.
But even like you said, WWE just like doesn't even do managers really anymore.
No, aside from Zelina Vega's the only one.
And now Bordeaux.
She's very good. She's very good.
Oh,
I have no complaints about Zelina Vega. Don't.
Well, because she's great on the. She's gorgeous. She's great on the mic, and she can work.
Right, and that's the other important part. Even like Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, she'll throw in some Hurricane Rondas in between.
I actually enjoy when she's out there and Alistair's in the match because you know they're married and they play it real well. But
you know what's funny is there's some stuff going around this week that Becky and Roman have been offered movie roles. All right, so let me back up a little bit. This past weekend, Becky made her scripted television debut on a show called Billions, if I'm correct, on Showtime. Yeah. Dan Soder from The Bonfire on Sirius XM is on there. From what I hear, it's a pretty funny show. I don't watch it, but good for her. She's on Billions. There's a rumor that she got signed to play a minor character in an upcoming Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And I heard this week that there have been offers made to Roman Reigns from Hollywood. He had that small part in the last Fast and Furious movie. Or Hobbs and Shaw, whatever it was, Rock's spinoff with Jason Statham. And then Roman Reigns was a small character in that. He's been getting offers. And this week on Raw, the big scuttlebutt that everybody had an issue with, which ties into this, they showed Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank on Brock Lesnar. They don't show Roman Reigns at all. They don't acknowledge that there was a singles match that was the build main event of WrestleMania 31 between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns that Seth Rollins interrupted for the heist of the century. The first time that a match has been interrupted with a cash-in. It's all very significant stuff and important stuff with if you're actually a historian of wrestling or want to follow wrestling to this deep of a level. It was a significant event, and they completely chopped it up to make it look like Rollins beat Brock and there was just no Roman Reigns in the building in this promo. So
they've been told not to even mention his name. So what does this mean? Like, is he done? It sounds like he's got some beef in the back. Which, if it has anything to do with COVID and Mania, that's shame on WWE. Quite honestly,
I feel like maybe that might have been the tipping point. Because listen, Roman Reigns, for all the shit that he gets. For whatever, he doesn't deserve the shit. The shit, all of the shit that you can say about Roman Reigns has nothing to do with Joe Anoa'i, the person. We said this about John Cena.
It's the character.
It's the character that he didn't pick. It's the promos that he didn't write. It's the storylines that he didn't choose to be involved in. It's the times that he was pushed ahead of other people or went over other people when Vince or Hunter or somebody else made the decision. He is sitting on a roller coaster. he's a passenger. He's not the engineer. You know what I mean? He just rides this ride that is the WWE lifestyle, and Vince McMahon dictates where he goes. So he's taken a lot of heat over the last 10 years at this point for being the chosen one, overpushed, overbooked. Superman kicks out of everything, doesn't sell anybody's finishes, doesn't say the whole deal. It has nothing to do with him. He's just doing what he's told, and he's getting paid to do it.
It's called a job.
Right. But that is a toll that every day takes a little bit out of you, a little bit out of you, a little bit out of you. And then one day you show up to work and they go, hey, we know that you just went through chemotherapy, but could you just go out there? By the way, the Miz has the sniffles and he just sneezed on all the carrots and catering. So, hey, and then you just wake up one day, you're like, no, I'm not fucking doing it. And I think that might be what it is. He's such a nice guy. He put it off. And one day he's just like, fuck this.
Right.
He just snapped. And it's like, he's such a nice guy. The line was just, it was like this. I think that's what happened. But I don't know. I don't know the guy personally.
Or is it such an extensive work that they want to try to make Roman cheered by having the
now that's interesting. Now that's
the
interesting.
machine not behind him.
Could you imagine?
When they knew the machine was behind him, that's why they started to sour on him.
Now we're talking.
It would honestly be the best thing that they could do, because there's too much. Even when he was in those Roman Reigns versus the Authority storylines. I kind of hope so for his sake, because whenever he's in those storylines, he's the underdog. The office is keeping him down. It's like, no, they're not. That's why those storylines stunk. So maybe now if we just have a different approach to Roman Reigns. But so all this stuff, Roman's not there, Becky's not there. She's kind of joking on Twitter about being a part-timer. There's all these, rumors floating about both of them. The WWE made an effort after The Rock left for Hollywood, after Hogan left for movies in WCW, after The Rock left for movies, other guys start getting television parts. Stone Cold was on Nash Bridges. Stone Cold has bit parts in movies. Stone Cold was, they made an effort that what they wouldn't promote, they're not promoting stars, individual stars. They're promoting WWE as a brand, and they are WWE superstars, and all of these people are on a certain level because they have made it to the professional top of the mountain, which is WWE. So they've made a big push the last 10 or 15 years about the brand. And even despite pushing the brand all the time, they still have top guys. They have to. But those top guys are still getting courted by, as much as they've tried to avoid it, their guys are still getting courted for reality TV, for scripted TV shows, and for movies. As much as they try and keep these guys on board.
Yeah, I mean, look at John Cena. Now he's moved on to those things too.
Right. And John Cena, he was the last guy. He would even say he was a WWE lifer. He loved it. He loved wrestling, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? You say that when you're 25. When you're getting towards 40 and they're saying, listen, this is your entire year's wrestling salary to do a movie. Well, what's the movie? You're a dad and your kids are trying to get laid on prom night. Do I have to fight anybody? No. Do I have to jump out of a plane? No. Am I being lit on fire? No. Do I have to fire a gun? No. You chug a beer out of your butt. Oh, that's all I got to do? Okay. Geez, give me $1 million. Fuck. That's
just his bit part in Stepdad was hilarious.
Stepdads, and then the one with that fat train wreck, because she's a big fat train wreck. He was Amy Schumer.
Mark Wahlberg. I look like I ate Mark Wahlberg.
You said all the gay shit. That was great. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, it's so funny when you talk about the brand. They're trying to have this brand that's important, and they didn't realize it was the superstars all along. It's not the friendships we made along the way. It's the superstars we made along the way. They're important. You have to have a Hulk. You had to have Hulk. You had to have Macho. You had to have a hand up to 5 guys at any given time. Because even look at Stone Cold. When Stone Cold was on top, you still had The Rock and Triple H coming up. You had guys like Mick Foley. You had The Undertaker. You had utility guys that you could go to make main eventers and cycle in and out. Now it's the same 2 or 3 people. Right. You cycle in Roman Reigns to challenge somebody. You cycle in Seth Rollins to challenge somebody. I don't know. It's just all. That's the problem. It's getting
like
very
even in the 80s. If Hogan, God forbid, was injured, I know he was barely injured, but if he was, there's a number of guys that could have stepped up in that time.
Yeah. You had Jake, you had Warrior, you had Ricky Steamboat, you had the Tornado, you had Perfect. There was a lot of guys you could do a number of things with. So,
There was
they were
even
more
talk
versatile
about
back then.
Tito getting like one run before he retired. Or something.
But even, okay, let's talk about those guys. Look at the guys that I named. They were big name superstars. They didn't all wrestle the same style. Hulk Hogan didn't wrestle the same as Macho Man. And Hulk Hogan might have wrestled a little bit like the Ultimate Warrior, but the Ultimate Warrior really didn't wrestle like Hulk. You know what I mean? They did power moves, but they didn't do the same moves. And like Andre the Giant did different shit than like other guys did. Everybody had their own little bibs and bobs, and now it's just like, you know,
It's like cookie cutter now.
They're creator wrestlers. That's really what it is. They're
It's
NXT
AEWs.
creator wrestlers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had a thought, and I don't know what we think about this, but I wanted to run it by you. Vince McMahon, after all these bad ratings, this is the worst rating ever in Raw history. Vince McMahon, let's say next week on Raw, or in 2 weeks, whatever it is, and he just comes out, you know, he acknowledges the ratings have been down. He acknowledges, you know, the fans aren't there and having the live crowd.
It's time for another
like,
shakeup.
yes, exactly. And he goes, I'm going to inject my creation with the poison. And he's like, you know, he immediately that day, superstar shakeup, nobody's safe. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, we're shuffling the entire fucking roster. Hard reset, do everything like, and I know this really kind of didn't work, but hear me out here. When Russo and Bischoff came out and reset Nitro, and they took all the titles away, and they did, and they said, we're going to start everything. There was some stuff they kept. They kept Sting against Vampiro. There were like individual feuds that they kept going, but a lot of stuff they just stopped. They're like, that's it. We're moving on. If Vince just comes out when we're blowing it all up, and they've pyro, boom, blows it all up. The set falls apart. Next week there's a new fucking set. There's new graphics. Everything's new. The rosters are new, or at least reshuffled. I don't fucking know, man. Like they need something.
Have whoever's left of the Nexus come out and destroy it like they did once.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know, I'm just
Daniel Bryan and David Otunga.
and I know, yeah, right? Hell of an invasion. But that's the thing. It's not like we need another NWO invasion, but we need. Wrestling has always been sparked by big moments. People watched Cyndi Lauper come on and interact, and that was a big moment. A lot of people watched that on MTV, the war to settle the score, all that stuff. There was Hogan and Andre in the lead up to that, and then the body slamming Andre, that was a big moment. The NWO invading was a big moment. The Montreal Screwjob was a big moment. You know, the business booms on these big tentpole things that happen. And now we're at a point where it's Raw, the banner show. It's been on for fucking 30 years and 10,000 episodes or whatever it is. And it's the lowest ratings ever. And a news show that only really has 800,000 viewers right now could potentially pass them in ratings. If AEW has a good week and Raw has a bad week, or NXT and Raw, imagine NXT beating Raw. It's unbelievable to think that this is how far we've fallen from Monday Nitro and Monday Night Raw, each pulling in 5 to 7 or 8 million viewers a night on Mondays. And that's two separate programs. Together they were pulling in 10 to 12 million people. And now we can't get 2 million people to watch. It's crazy.
We have to see what happens. They something, you know, usually when it gets this bad, things happen. So we have to hope and see things get better. I will say this: I didn't think Raw was horrible. I thought a 45-minute gauntlet match was kind of long. But I like how it broke up, you know, where Lashley you really think is going to just dominate the whole thing and then DQs himself, and then,
right,
you know, it winds up, you know, being AJ or whatever. I thoroughly enjoyed the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. That match I thought was fantastic to watch. I mean, there were some good moments. I'm trying. I like the MVP segments. I like how they brought that back, the Players Lounge or whatever the fuck they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was, you know.
I feel like the
wasn't
45
bad.
Minute,
It
right,
just-
but I feel like the gauntlet match
It went long.
That might have got people to you know, tune out or just dragged for him. I don't know.
It went
But
long. It went long. I will tell
But
you.
the one when Seth Rollins was over, he had an hour-long gauntlet match and it was fucking fine.
Yeah, but there was a crowd and there was energy and there was like there's
Right.
some things that you just can't. You know, maybe I would feel differently. I guess if there was a crowd there, you know, whatever. But it just It did just feel like it was just very long. I don't know. I like how Liv stepped up and took on Charlotte. It was one of the better matches I've seen Liv wrestle. You know, but of course, Eric's favorite woman in the WWE is going to get over, as she should. Obviously, I mean she is the champion. But
so here's the thing. I'm glad that yes, when you look at the last time Liv wrestled Charlotte, she lost in like a minute or something, right? And now she's going 15 minutes with the champ and whatever. That's all fine and good. There's a lot of talk online where people go, "Oh, Liv got buried because she lost to Charlotte." And then there are the other people who go, "Oh, you don't know what buried means. She just lost a competitive match to the women's champion. She should have lost the match." Yes, she should have lost the match. But let's think about this logically. I want to introduce an option that people didn't think of. You could not have this match. Just don't have it. Don't have Liv, who you are trying to push as like the next babyface, have her momentum stopped by Charlotte.
see,
Like,
now I have to disagree with you.
I would just have her in a different match and have her win.
I see. For me, I think if anything, this just elevated her career. Quite honestly, because to me, she hung in there 15 minutes with the champion, the quote unquote possibly the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Possibly, Eric. Possibly one of the greatest.
Well, no, but you're right.
But
though,
you know what I
Steve,
mean.
'cause
She
it's very much like Kurt Angle, John Cena, that kind of thing.
right, right.
In a way.
Where Cena
In a
lost
weird
and put on
way,
a good show.
yeah. So, in my opinion, that didn't hurt. I think this only, like, to me, I sat there, I said, all right, Liv is showing me something. Because, you know, I mean, you know, she's cute
Yeah,
now, but
and it is all in
More
the follow
importantly,
up.
They need to give her like what is she? Who is she? What, why is she? Why is Gamora?
Yes, yeah, no, I don't disagree with any of that. I think they need to do something a little different with
Like Sarah
her
Logan, when she was
presentation.
still there, they never knew whether she wanted to. They wanted her to be a country girl or Viking.
or a Viking
Pick
or
one.
yeah.
I just don't know. That name, that whole fucking thing made no sense to me. From the very beginning, they should have just put her with the Viking Raiders. That would have made the most fucking sense.
Considering her and Ro were together anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah, but
married. They had a Viking fucking wedding. Like,
Yeah, which was awesome.
you know, so... But
not when you're in a business where for the last 40 or 50 years you've just fucked with people in marriages and tried to break them up and get them to divorce. You know what I mean? Like there's a what do you call it? A workplace
Rusev and Lana.
environment. Right. There's just it's like a tradition at WWE almost to just fuck with anybody that's you got married? Well, now you're on Raw, you're on SmackDown, or we're gonna be in an angle where your wife is fucking some other guy. You know what I mean? Like they never just let couples be couples and be happy.
I don't know. I feel like they've gotten much better over the years keeping couples together for the
But
most
they
part.
did two cuck storylines in the same year.
Yeah, like they do. See, but they do and they don't. So they'll keep together. They'll keep Charlotte together with Andrade. Yeah, of course.
I'd
But-
actually like to see them together.
They're
on-
keeping
Why not?
Selena. They're keeping Selena and Aleister Black together.
Yeah, but then they have Rusev and Lana. You know what I mean? They're just like they have a thing against Rusev. So they're like, now your wife is super hot, and we're gonna do all this stuff to like, humiliate you, not your wife. Your wife is gonna get super over. You're just gonna look like you're standing there with your dick in your hand, but your wife is gonna get super over.
And then you're going to get fired.
Yeah. But it's frustrating, man. So I'm hoping this out of darkness comes light, or out of pressure we make diamonds, or whatever the fuck
Well,
it is.
remember
They have to
last
come up
week
with
you
something.
mentioned that after the plague came the Renaissance.
That's what I'm hoping. That is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they've sat back and figured out what we're doing isn't working.
I mean, then what would the Ninja Turtles be named?
Who knows? They would be named Picasso and somebody else and somebody else. Who the fuck? Like terrible. Like one of them would be Jackson Pollock, and he'd just have a bandana that was all spots and shit.
Yeah, there's a Van Gogh somewhere.
Yeah, there's just a Van Gogh
A
turtle.
Monet.
Out.
Couldn't see him very well though.
But it is one of those things where you hope that during this time they're going, guys, we understand that people are watching news more, and people are have found other ways to amuse themselves. Tiger King became a big thing on Netflix, and so there are other technologies, iPads, iPhones, games, video games, wherever the fuck else, Fortnite. There are things to occupy your time, Disney Plus, and
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing, and we've found that people who are habit watchers, a lot of them stop that habit. There's some diehards. We are boiled down to the 1.6 million diehards that will watch Raw when it is as bad as it possibly could be.
Listen, I it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna watch because eventually I feel like I'm not gonna miss that something that erupts
because there has to be a
turns
tipping point.
right. And we have to be close to that tipping point
because unfortunately it either turns to something big happens where one of these guys does like a breakout promo or a breakout moment, that ends up renewing interest in the WWE product, or it goes the way of WCW. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to go out of business, but what I'm saying is there was a point where WCW was at its tipping point, and then Nick Patrick didn't make a fast count, and then he made Bret Hart look like an asshole, then he made Sting look like an asshole, and then from December of 97 until they went out of business in 2001, it was just a steady fucking decline because they didn't know what they were doing. They had success, and they didn't know how to continue it. So I just don't want to see that.
They need another pipe bomb? Like, is that what you're saying?
They need a pipe, right? They need a pipe bomb. They need a CM Punk. No, I'm not saying exactly CM Punk, but
right.
And they even fucked that up. CM Punk cut the pipe bomb promo, won the title, stole the title, ran off, took a picture in his fridge, was sitting at a Cubs game, and then he's back like a week later. What the fuck? Have him take 3 months off. He defends the title in Ring of Honor. He goes over to Japan and defends the title in Japan, while John Cena or Rey Mysterio or whoever has the real, the supposed real title on Raw. You follow CM Punk on. They didn't understand it back then. They probably still don't understand social media now. Punk could have just posted pictures and videos on his Twitter account, and millions of people would have saw him. WWE could retweet them going, this man stole our belt. Have you seen him? Where have you seen him wrestle?
They let him mention Ring of Honor in the fucking thing.
Right.
He said hello to Colt Cabana at the thing.
But then he he made Punk made all of these promises. I'm going to win the belt. He did. I'm going to take
the fourth wall.
Right. He said all this stuff, and then
we got the ice cream sandwiches back.
Oh, it only took a fucking 7 years.
But we got him.
Yeah.
I had Macho Man and Randy Savage last night.
But that's great. And but again, they're fucking behind on it by how many years?
No, it's true.
But it's just one of those things where like the CM Punk, that was a big thing because sports, this was before, there was a point where ESPN and wrestling and sports broadcasting were very closely tied together. Then there was a point where they treated it like where sports broadcasting treated wrestling like a joke. Then there was a point where they realized that they could bring those viewers in because ESPN was starting to dip. So they started working with WWE, and Fox Sports started working with WWE again. So now they're taking it more seriously again.
And someone like Jonathan Coachman was perfect for that role to bring them both together.
Him, and then what's his name? Jonathan Gresham was he was a sportscaster. He went, he would transition between them. But like, I don't know, man. They had a chance to be really culturally relevant in 2013 with Punk, and then the Shield came along right after that, and that was super over. Daniel Bryan got pretty over, like the Yes thing, like people were doing that at sporting events and stuff. And then what did they do? They made a recap video about the Yes chant 3 years later, 4 years later.
Yeah.
5 years. It was WrestleMania 35. No, it was WrestleMania 34. It was WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans because the last one was 4 years ago, WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. And they didn't make a promo package on the Yes Chant until 4 years later. The guy had to retire, get neck surgery, or the fuck, and then come back. It's so frustrating to look at all these things that they just fucking whiff on.
So, not to shift gears or anything, but let's talk about Money in the Bank. So
can I just tell you what's going to happen? Can I tell you what's going to happen?
Well, yeah.
The internet has picked up on something called the Tamina train. Have you heard of this?
What?
There is a small group of people online called the Tamina train, and they are doing their best, much like when people voted for Sanjaya on American Idol. They're posting memes and pictures and support for Tamina, trying to get WWE to think that Tamina is organically over on the internet and to give her the title at Money in the Bank. What do we? What do you think they can do it? Do you think they can make WWE change this finish?
I mean,
and give the title to Tamina.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. A part of me thought Tamina might actually, like the way they've been promoting her lately, it almost looked like there's a good shot that Tamina's actually going to win this belt.
I think Sasha's going to cost Bayley accidentally or accidentally intentionally.
I agree.
And then that sparks. Yeah. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. Sasha costs Bayley the title. The next Smackdown, whatever it is, Sasha wins an over-the-top 10-woman battle royal to be the number one contender because she eliminated Bayley last. But it almost looked like an accident. Bayley tripped or something, whatever the fuck. Sasha wins the title from Tamina, and then they start the feud with Sasha having the title and Bayley being the one that got fucked.
Right.
Maybe.
That sounds about right.
But this Tamina, good on her. She's approaching 40 years old and never really had a big spotlight shined on her.
If she's gonna have a run, it's gotta be now.
It's now or never.
It's now or never. So the thing is, though, have you seen her Twitter videos where she admits to having an anger problem and she's an angerholic and all this stuff?
No.
Okay, if you go on her Twitter account, it's.
But is it a work or is it?
So yeah, it's part of the show. So she go, "Hi, I'm Tamina. I'm an angerholic." Blah blah blah, and like it almost looks like Blue's Clues. She'll be like, "I get angry," and then they'll show like a thundercloud. And it's like, "But I want to be nice."
But I need like a handy dandy notebook.
Yeah, so it's very much like little graphics and stuff.
You can tell I've been hanging out with my nieces.
Yes, you've been watching a lot of children's programming. We can tell, but like that's what it is. It's almost like a thing like that, but it always ends kind of like a Doink promo where he's like a happy-go-lucky clown, and then at the end, like you tell that he's like evil. Like right at the end, she says, "There's nobody nicer than Tamina," and then she looks at the camera real mean, and her T-shirt says, "There's nobody meaner than Tamina." Like it's a completely. She's trying to sell that she's nice, but
you just said it. Of course she's winning. She has new merch. She has a new shirt. It's a done deal. She hasn't had a new shirt in 20 fucking years.
New champ, baby, new champ. Get on the Tamina train before it's too late.
I kind of like over the last few weeks, the way they've been building her up, even without this Tamina train bullshit.
Yeah.
A part of me was like, there's a very good chance that Tamina's going to take this title.
Funny
and
enough.
Bayley's a little, boring now.
And she doesn't have to have a long run with it either. You know what I mean?
No. I'm not. She's not going to hold it until next WrestleMania or anything. She's like the perfect person to get cashed in on. You know?
Yes, 100%.
Like at SummerSlam, like at a big event, like
or like the first SmackDown back from all of this, and the first time there were
like
crowds
when there's a
there.
crowd, right?
And then
who is Sasha? Sasha's. I heard. Is she not in the Money in the Bank?
I don't think she is.
No,
I don't think she is.
No, I think she's just in the Bayley's corner.
So yeah, there's got to be shenanigans because there's no way she's
gonna stand there and not be involved somehow.
Just stand there and smile. I mean, she kind of is. She's been collecting a paycheck for doing fucking nothing for the last like 3 years. So go for it.
That's true.
But every time they tease this goddamn feud, something happens. They just don't do it. They teased it at WrestleMania at least twice. When I was there, I've been to a lot of WrestleManias recently, and they had a lot of battle royals where her and Bayley look like they're gonna go at it, and then they never do. It's fucking horseshit. Anyway,
like is it gonna be the Santana Martel thing where every Rumble they would like beat the crap out of each other.
Right? So we've got in the women's Money in the Bank, which is, from what we've heard, running simultaneously with the men's Money in the Bank.
Now what the fuck is that? Is that like...
And it will be intercut throughout the evening.
So they're just going to keep cutting... Oh, so wait. So the... All right,
So
hold
when
on. So the show starts.
And they're at the ground, they're at the door.
Right, and this is going to start at the ground door. They're going to cut back and forth, men to women. Then they're going to go into a match. And then they're going to cut back to the...
And they're going to be like, oh, we've just heard that.
Is that confirmed? Is that...
Yes, from what I've heard...
Fuck me, that's going to suck.
So, right, it's going to be like...
Do you remember World War III? When they'd have 3 different commentary tables for the 3 different
Jesus
rings,
Christ,
and then they
could
switch.
you not? Don't you dare put that evil out there, Ricky Bobby.
Listen, if you listen to last week's show, I'm trying very hard to see the silver lining. And I'm saying, we got to give the match a chance. It's going to be something new. It's going to be something different. This could be really good.
Sure.
This could be something really cool that is a one-time only thing. But if they're going to do it this way...
my belief is they're gonna go, like I said, they're at the ground floor. There's a referee outside and a timekeeper. Ring the bell. The guy rings the bell and everybody rushes for the doors. Somebody gets caught in the fucking spinning door and they're trying to crush him in the door. And somebody's stopping somebody else from getting in, and another one makes a break for somebody goes to the elevator and somebody goes for the stairwell, because that's always the thing in movies. One guy goes to the elevator, one guy goes to the stairwell. Who's going to be faster?
Right.
And then they're going to go to a match. And then they're going to go, Michael Cole's going to go, I've just been told they made it to the 3rd floor cafeteria. And fucking Daniel Bryan's going to be over picking through the salad bar or something. And then Aleister Black is going to kick him into the ranch dressing.
Why can't they just do the first, hour of this pay-per-view, them just cutting back and forth from the men to the women? I would be better. I would be happier with that than having a match and then saying, oh, hold on, we got to cut back now because, no.
Right, but how...
That's going to suck.
Like
they've
the
already
Hollywood
taped
backlot
it.
brawl.
Yes. Oh my God, you're right. That's exactly it. Holy shit.
What'd he say?
It's the Hollywood backlot brawl.
Goldust Piper.
Oh my God, that's true.
They kept
But
cutting
this is
back
just,
to
there's going to be too much going on
Yes,
that I need to
agree with
focus on the women going at it at once, the men going at it once. Oh, and now I got to watch this fucking match. And
Yeah.
And then at the end, Thanos is going to come and snap his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet.
I would.
Man.
It would be
now
great.
Now I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie.
Go ahead and do more research, but I believe Daniel Bryan either said it on air or said it in an interview with somebody that was the way that it was going to be done. I don't know. I don't know for certain, but it seems that's what, from what I've been reading, that's what it seems like it's going to be. They're going to cut back and forth.
Based on the few things they did at WrestleMania, it seems they want to do some kind of cinematic thing.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, and it's really not a bad idea. I get it, climbing the corporate ladder.
Because Boneyard was like one of the highlights of Mania.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm cool with the idea. I think it has potential to be different and funny and entertaining. I get it, and I'm all aboard for that. And I'm okay if you're going to cut back and forth from men to women, although it should be 2 separate matches. But if you're going to do that, that's fine. Cut back and forth, but see it all the way through. I don't need you doing matches in between. I want to focus on that.
I don't like that.
That's what I want more than anything. That's what you look forward to in the Money in the Bank. You want to see the Money in the Bank matches. I don't give a shit about anything else.
I get it. And that's really when you buy Money in the Bank, it's like the Royal Rumble. They have 4 matches of the Royal Rumble.
And they were going to have both matches happen simultaneously.
I wonder if they're going to have 2, the men start at one side of the building and the women start on the other side of the building.
As long as there's no monster trucks and nobody falls off the arena.
Oh, there's got to be, as I said before, the cafeteria, the guy with the papers, the stack of papers that gets knocked over. The gym, somebody gets thrown through a plate glass window.
Vince's office is
Vince's office,
and then in the middle
with the big
get it.
Yeah, and then the big T-Rex skull.
Vince's office will get used. Right. Triple H's office will probably get used. Stephanie's office. They'll probably hit all those.
they're going to get to the roof. Somebody's going to hang off the side of the roof. It'll probably be, let's see, Rey Mysterio or AJ Styles will hang off the side of the roof. You know what I mean? Like they're going to get knocked over and then they climb back up or something.
Because the first time I heard that, I'm like, man, someone's going to die.
What are our, maybe this should be the one of the tiebreakers for our Pickem. How do we feel about somebody, whether it's Vince McMahon or Stephanie or Hunter or somebody coming down in a helicopter and assisting their chosen one to win the Money in the Bank by handing them the briefcase from the helicopter?
King of the Ring 99, when they took the title up when Austin was trying to climb it.
We still don't know who did that. Still to this day, they never solved that mystery. We assume it was Shane or Boss Man, but I don't think we ever got confirmation.
Maybe this new hacker is going to be the new GTV.
So I kind of didn't we hear there was like going to be a combination of Ali and Gable?
Yeah, I don't know if they either one could pull that off though. Like I even heard Ember Moon possibly is that like that makes more sense because she's a little more mysterious.
Right.
If it's Gable or Ali, once again WWE has disappointed. I will just leave that there. So should we give our picks and kind of run through?
All right, yeah, let's see. So for the women's match,
I don't even remember who's.
I'm going with Tamina.
We've got Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Carmella.
Lacey Evans.
Yeah, I feel like it's Lacey.
I don't even have a prediction, honestly.
Because why is Shayna going to win it so she can just have another rematch with Becky? She could just get a rematch with Becky by winning some matches.
Or she should have just won the fucking title in the first place.
Yeah, or just go with the plan you had before this whole thing. Like, it's just, I don't know. Because Becky has nowhere to go from here. The whole idea was that Becky got too cocky and started believing her own hype.
I don't like the
idea she was going to get caught.
Of people that are like that's why I didn't like Braun with the Money in the Bank. Because it didn't make sense for a guy so strong to need it, you know.
You're right. He doesn't need Money in the Bank.
And so Shayna's the same way. I don't think she's not the right person.
I feel like it's
I think it's all been building for Lacey Evans.
Yeah. And she's on Twitter sketching out plans like Home Alone.
Her Twitter, her videos are fucking hilarious. Her Instagram ones, there was one of her trying to sneak into the headquarters, and she has an interaction with the security guard. This shit is hilarious. Then she comes in disguise. Dude, it's fucking like Scooby-Doo shit. It's hilarious.
I can't stand her.
Oh, so I think one of her plans is to do booby traps like Home Alone. So expect some Home Alone style booby traps, tripping on marbles, paint can on a string, whatever. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So a spider lands on somebody's face. Yeah, and step on a nail. Sticky floors, like
hot doorknob,
whatever. Yes, expect some of that stuff too.
An iron.
So, but yeah, I think Lacey Evans wins. Yeah, an iron hits somebody in the head. Oh my God, what if it hit Nia Jax in the head? That would be fitting, I guess, because she injures so many people. But Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, King Corbin, Otis, AJ Styles climbing the corporate ladder and grabbing that Money in the Bank briefcase. Do we think it's AJ Styles? Or do we think it's somebody else?
You know what? I'm on the fence. You know what? I'm thinking AJ Styles, but there's a part of me that wants to go with Aleister Black.
It would be good, like to have him as like make him a new guy. I guess that turns him heel if he goes against
if you have
Corbin.
a ranking system, he's got to be in the top. The guy hasn't lost a fucking match in I don't even know how long.
Yeah, but he spent like 8 months asking for people to knock on his door. Like there was a point where they were just like, we don't know what to do with this guy. He's just going to sit here. And, like the fuck.
I don't know. I'm in between those two.
I would totally be on board with an Aleister Black win.
Yeah, because I think him and I don't know if him and Drew have wrestled before.
I feel like AJ's been done to death by now.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the same effect. If a heel has the Money in the Bank and has two guys with him like Gallows and Anderson, who would go rough up the champion a little bit, and then AJ comes in with his briefcase, it's almost like you're getting heat on the heel, and people are getting over because you started a storyline. But that's not what we're going to get because they fucking fired the Bullet Club. But anyway. Sorry, guys, if you're listening for this for positive wrestling news. They're just fucking... There is one bit. Tonight on Vice, Dark Side of the Ring, the Herb Abrams UWF is being featured tonight. Herb Abrams is crazy. Well, was crazy. He's dead now, obviously. A lot of cocaine. So Yeah, the guy basically.
That was the 80s, though.
it was the electric 80s, and this guy was he could have powered a whole city block by himself with the amount of cocaine that was in his system. So he was a wild man. He wasn't a wrestler, but he got involved in the storyline with Steve Dahl. Steve Dahl was another guy who could have, if they changed his fucking name, could have been a big star. Steve Dahl was a stud, good wrestler.
Well, they changed it
guy.
to Stephen Dunn. And
no!
Remember a
Well
worse.
Done. It was worse. They fucked it up again. Oh, Steve Dahl had so much potential. That was like Furnace and LaFon. Furnace and LaFon was the best tag team in the world. Fight me. They had the worst name. But anyway, Herb Abrams is gonna be a hell of a ride to listen to.
So UWF, that's basically what Mid-South turned into, right?
No, there's two. So here's what happened. This is always going to be the problem. UWF is what Mid-South turned into. But who ran Mid-South? I forget who it was. Was it Blackjack? Mulligan?
I forgot.
Whoever ran the... Excuse me, wrestling historians. If Jim Cornette's listening, he's screaming at his computer right now. But basically, the first UWF that was Mid-South that eventually got rolled into the NWA, or Crockett and the NWA, they never trademarked or copywrote the name. So Herb Abrams, after UWF got bought out by Crockett.
Right. That is a different UWF.
So now you always have to differentiate because they didn't copyright the name. So there's a Mid-South UWF and there's a West Coast UWF. That was Herb Abrams.
They're not talking about like one-man gang, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
No, they're talking about like
DiBiase.
they were talking about like Colonel De Beers. And Steve Dahl and guys like that. Yeah. It's a West Coast. It was basically like, I don't want to say it was Glow for men because it wasn't that hokey, but it was like that same kind of low budget. We're filming it for basic cable. We're trying to shop it around to like UPN or whatever the fuck.
How was the David Schultz episode? I didn't see it yet.
It was fantastic because I learned a lot about David Schultz that I didn't know. I didn't know that he was legitimately good friends with Hulk Hogan up until the whole thing happened. And then I didn't realize the sequence of events was that Dr. D slapped John Stossel and got fired. And then months later, Hogan choked out Belzer and nothing happened to him. I mean, he paid out financially, but he wasn't reprimanded or fired in the same way that Dr. D was for assaulting a member of the press. So it's a real interesting look at the backstage politics and the what ifs, because Dr. D was a big time heel and could have continued to be a big time heel for those guys, and they did what they did.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, then the Dino Bravo episode was rough to watch.
Oh, that was tragic. It was just the whole thing was tragic.
Yeah, it was fucked up. It was weird to see Rougeau too.
Yeah.
You know,
it's weird to see
good.
all those guys.
Yeah.
Even
He's
like
you know who I am? I'm the Mountie.
I'm the Mountie. I love when he says that. I'm the Mountie.
Oh,
But
it was so funny.
What's his name from the Brawl for All? Bart Gunn.
Yeah, he looks like
Holy
he can still
shit.
go.
He looks like he can still go. There's a lot of these guys that look like they're in pretty good shape and could still go. Dr. D, after he left wrestling, became a fucking bounty hunter.
Wow.
And is just like, he's as old as Hogan or older, so 60s, could be 70. And the guy, I mean, not that he's going to go out there and wrestle a 60-minute match, but he looks like if you're in a bar and you say the wrong thing to him, he's going to kick the shit out of you or shoot you. He's still, at however old he is, an intimidating presence.
He's like the White Haku.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. He's a scary fucking guy. And he is not scary in the sense that he's out there to intentionally do things to scare. He's just so intense. You know that if you fuck with this guy, he's going to mess you up. So he was a damn good heel. It's worth a watch. They show some of the old heel stuff. I mean, he was you couldn't even do this nowadays. He was firing a gun off. Like he was showing Vince McMahon his gun collection, and then he fired off. Obviously, it was a blank or whatever because it was TV. But it's like Vince McMahon, and they're in a log cabin, and like Lord Hayes and whatever. And he's like, "This here's a shotgun or whatever," and he fucking fires it off, and Vince sells. Like he doesn't take a bump, but he like sells for the shotgun. The whole thing's fucking.
Did they mention future stuff like Vader in Kuwait and that whole thing? And
I think they did mention Vader in Kuwait, but the reason they focused on Stossel and then Belzer is because they happened so close to each other. Dr. D got fired and Hulk Hogan was fine. And obviously there's a big difference between Dr. D and Hulk Hogan in terms of star power. But like Dr. D thought, not that he was untouchable, but he thought that being friends with Hogan, being a top heel, being towards the top of the card would give him some kind of protection, and it didn't. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I have to check it out. All right, what else we got? Because we're on the top of the hour.
AEW finals of the tournament this week. Cody and Lance Archer.
Is that all the
right?
matches for?
Oh no, that's the pay-per-view. I'm sorry, that's not even tonight. This week it's the pay-per-view. Strowman, Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, but Bray Wyatt.
Strowman's got to win, right?
Strowman has to win.
Has to win.
Because this stretches out to Braun Strowman versus the Fiend. Because he can beat Bray Wyatt. We don't know if he can beat the Fiend.
Right. Yeah.
So plus, they did tease that a while back from the Seth Rollins match.
Yeah. So
when Braun was involved. So
right. Yeah. So there's history. They'll bring that up.
Continuity. Yeah. Hey, I like that.
Listen, Bray Wyatt's trying here. He's really fucking trying. As much as they're trying to mess him up.
He's the best thing they got right now.
Yeah. And now Bayley Tamina. I'm going with Tamina. I think
you might have to go with Tamina.
You just got to shake it up sometimes, man. Bayley with her can I speak to the manager haircut and the pouty face and all that. It works for some people. I don't care for it. So Tamina.
Bayley, aka Karen.
Yes, Bayley Karen. They should change her name to Karen. That'd be great. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. I swear to God, this is not an exaggeration. If Drew McIntyre loses the WWE Championship to Seth Rollins, I will never fucking watch this program again. I will not buy a ticket to next year's WrestleMania, even though I was just refunded all my money for plane flights and for WrestleMania tickets, and I can definitely afford it. I won't fucking go. If they fuck this up, I'm just done. Like, their rating might as well be 700,000 people. They're gonna if they fuck it up. So, Drew McIntyre has to win.
100%.
I got you.
And then the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We have one of the Usos out with a knee injury for 8 months or something like that. So we've got New Day. That's Big E and Kofi because Xavier's still nursing an Achilles. Miz and Morrison. The Forgotten fucking Sons.
Who weren't even over in NXT, let alone WWE.
Who Steve Cutler, Jackson Riker, and Wesley Blake. 2 of those 3 guys will be in it. And then Lucha House Party, Grand Metalik, and Lindsay.
Oh my God, I don't even care. I think
I
gotta go with New Day to retain.
Like, unless the Forgotten Sons are really military veterans and they just bring AR-15s to the ring and threaten to shoot everybody, this is like, I don't give a fuck about this match.
Yeah, I'm going with the New Day. New Day's keeping them.
Otherwise, they should have just put Ziggler and Roode in there and then eventually have the heavy machinery take it off them.
So, Jack, for those of you who don't recall, Jackson Riker,
that's Gunner, right?
Was Gunner from TNA. He wasn't even over in TNA.
Yeah,
this is going on a decade of failure for this guy, and he's 37 years old. I feel really bad because he was one of those guys. Oh, Phil Shatter. That was his
Immortal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Immortal group.
What else we got?
That's it. There's 6 matches announced.
Well, and then Money in the Bank. So who's the picks for the women and the men's? I gotta go. Well, we said Lacey Evans for the women. For the men, who's in the men's now?
Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, King Corbin.
So we went over that.
Yeah. So it's either AJ or Aleister, I'd think.
Yeah, I would think that too.
I don't think Corbin, the incumbent King, is going to win.
Yeah, if King, like, it's gonna be like when DDP came out with the jacket, the sunglasses, the cowboy boots, the cigar, the rings. Like, they're just going to keep adding things to Baron Corbin. You have a crown, you have a briefcase.
Or that mysterious Battle Bowl thing with the ring and he was poor and then he's like, what the fuck happened with that?
You know what I think that was? I think he was poor and then came back with money and said he had a benefactor. It was supposed to be Ted DiBiase, but then they held off on that so Ted DiBiase could be the money man for the NWO.
Right.
I think. I don't know if the timing works out on that, but I think that's what happened.
All right.
Whew. Boy, wow, we filled up an hour. And all we did was complain. I'm sorry that all we did was complain. There are good things.
It's going to happen every now and then.
We just needed to get it out. We'll be back next week. I'm sure this pay-per-view will be absolutely fine. And I mean that in the sense of when you ask your girlfriend if she's feeling okay and she says she's fine. You know that there's something wrong, but you'll just leave it like it's fine. It's fine. It's just okay. You got I hope it's fine. I hope it's great. I know it's not gonna be, but I'd like it to be great. But we'll see. Don't get fooled like I did today because it was so sunny out and almost be late for your own podcast because of the daylight savings time changeover. We are live 7 p.m. on Eastern time. So if you're somewhere else in the world, just adjust your clocks as you would. We are on YouTube and Twitch broadcasting live on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. on Eastern time. Best way to follow us is the username @tagmeadate, @tagmeadate. So if you go to youtube.com and type tagmeadate, all one word, no spaces, into your search bar, you'll find the Tag Me a Date channel. Please hit the subscribe button and please hit the bell as well. For the rest of social media, it's also @tagmeadate, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc., etc. For podcasts, if you prefer the audio-only version or you prefer to listen later, you can't watch live. You can subscribe to our podcast on any of the major podcast apps, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts. You just look, again, Tag Me a Date, all one word. You'll find the last 5 or 6 episodes should be uploaded audio only for you to subscribe and listen to at your leisure. So we'll be back again next weekend, or not next weekend, next week, next Tuesday, for another edition of the War Report, brought to you by tagmeadate.com. Tagmeadate.com are currently undergoing a redesign. Follow us on social media for details on that. When the site is back up, when the world gets back to normal, when we can actually have things like dates and go out and, meet people, we'll be back up and running. But until then, really, what the fuck are we gonna do? So follow us on social media so you can figure that out. Maybe I'll go live. Maybe we should go live. We should go on Twitch for the pay-per-view. I don't know. I'll see. I'm so old now, I fall asleep in the middle of the pay-per-view and then wake up, so I don't know if that would be an interesting Twitch stream. So I got to get like a monster energy, and maybe we'll Twitch stream on Sunday. I'll see what I'm doing. But yeah, we'll see you next week right here on YouTube or Twitch, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for watching.